You! Han Ling exclaimed, so powerful. The little evil said, if it weren't so powerful, my old man wouldn't have asked me to see it, and he would have to run for his life like a mad dog. Han Ling smiled and said, if I find one, see if you dare to bully me again. Xiaoxie said proudly, let's talk about it when you find it. Take advantage of the. Now slap. He has slapped Han Ling, dodged and ran out, and laughed from time to time. You! Han Ling touched her chin, it's evil. She also chased down. Ha ha! The two chased happily, and laughter came from time to time. XXX. Time flies, and time flies. 3 weeks have passed. The little evil also healed his injuries successfully, and he was like a dragon and a tiger. At the same time, he also kept reciting some martial arts methods that he couldn't even understand to the Ghost King Ji San. Ji Sangxiao also regarded the little evil as a father, serving him meticulously, and he also reached out to drip the potion from time to time, eager to test the power of the divine skill, and he was not afraid of being stripped of a layer of skin. He asked the little evil how to proceed so that it could be unhindered, and the little evil also talked nonsense one by one. Of course, it was inevitable to start with warm water first. Today, Ji San smiled very happily and asked, young brother, I can try the taste of the potion now, right? He had been holding back for 21 days, and this kind of anxiety was the hardest. No wonder he asked before Xiaoxie could speak. Xiaoxie secretly laughed at him and said, it's okay, the medicinal properties are not as strong as before, and now they are suitable for you. Come on, come on. Take off your clothes first and then enter the medicine barrel, and the magic will soon be completed. He he. Ji Sangxiao was really desperate. He was dazed, and hurriedly took off his clothes and jumped to the medicine bucket without waiting for the little evil finger. Little brother, it's so comfortable. He splashed his face from time to time, it was really like a fish in water. Xiaoxie thought to himself, comfortable, of course you are comfortable, and there will be more comfortable later. He smiled and said, old ghost, the first time is the most important thing, so I'm going to put a lid on the rack in the medicine bucket. Keep your head on the cover, I'll tie the cover, you have to be as patient as possible, until I can't bear it anymore, I'll open the lid again. This. Ji San smiled and thought to himself, will this kid be cheating? Immediately climbed out of the bucket and said, isn't it okay without a lid? Xiaoxie also knew that Ji Sangxiao was not so easy to be fooled. He said solemnly, if you don't put a lid, you will run up as soon as you are hot, and you will be afraid of it. This will be wasted. I will add a lid so that you can't come out. At that time you have to endure the pain. This can inspire you to endure Kung Fu to the highest level. I am for your good, so good. If you are afraid that I will harm you, then you can give me some prohibitions, such as poison, or some other secret tricks of your housekeeping. If I hurt you, I also have to pay for my life. You can always rest assured. Xiaoxie deliberately said the poison. On the one hand, he has a unique way of poison, on the other hand, this old ghost is called the second poison in the world. He must have the most confidence in the poison. It is really good. Li San laughed and was fooled. Ji San smiled and thought, in the past 20 days, Yang Xiaoxie has answered all my questions, and he has answered in detail. Presumably he is repaying his kindness. The old man doesn't eat your set. You want to use your feelings to buy me, then you are looking at the wrong person. As for the method of practicing, what he said is not false. If I can't help it, I will definitely run outside, so that it is really as he said. It is a waste of all his efforts, and he would rather accompany his life as what he found himself. I will cross the river and draw a board, and ask him to die. He said, you take my invisible heaven pill. As long as you don't take the antidote for 3 hours, you will immediately bleed to death. He pulled out a pill as red as a cherry from his pocket, and his Shenqian seemed to be quite sure of it. Xiaoxie didn't think about it, grabbed the pill and swallowed it in his mouth. You should rest assured. Ji-san smiled and said secretly, boy, you are dead, even I am not sure that this pill will be unraveled. You eat it as if you are eating sugar. He said with great satisfaction, don't worry, I'll get rid of it for you as soon as I finish practicing. If you have eaten, it is the same as not eating. The little evil thought to himself, old man, you are looking at the wrong person. You little kid is not even as good as my belly button, and you still want to trick me. If I am not sure, I will not take your red cherry. He said, it's just that if you eat it and you don't eat it, I'll take it so happily. Let's get started. Don't waste time. Ji Sangxiao smirked a few times. He also felt that time was precious, and jumped into the medicine barrel again. Xiaoxie was not polite. He found a big lid in the middle and dug a hole in the bucket like a prisoner, and found a few iron bars to wrap around with wire, and after checking it, he was satisfied. Okay, old ghost, you are now spreading your true qi all over your body, and I am going to add fire. Shoot Xiao hit him with a bang, and he couldn't stop laughing. Ji Sangxiao thought that Xiaoxie's palm was testing whether he had exercised his skills, and he was not angry, but he naturally glared at Xiaoxie and immediately used his strength and said, it's okay, you can light the fire. The little evil asked, where do you put your kerosene? The little evil is going to burn the snake with kerosene and prepare to escape. Ji-san smiled and said, about 7 feet in the cave on the right, there is a big barrel of kerosene, you can see it when you walk by. Xiaoxie smiled and walked towards Han Ling, blinking his eyes, and moved out the iron bucket in anger. Li San smiled and palpitated, and said, young brothers, don't be too fast, slowly add fire, I'm afraid that the fire is too big and I can't stand it. The little evil sneered and said, don't worry, I'll save some money, you can do it. It's best to close your eyes, so as not to get angry. Li Sangxiao was really afraid that he would be angry, so he hurriedly closed his eyes and acquiesced in his divine skills. Xiaoxie knew that it was time to cook the old Snake King soup, so he began to light the fire. A little kerosene had already increased the fire, and the water was slowly hot. The little evil wanted to use this time to lift the ban on Han Ling and said, Han Ling, sit on the stone bed quickly, and I will restore your strength for you. Han Ling nodded and sat on the stone bed. The little evil said, if you are lucky, tell me if it doesn't work. He had already taken out the golden needle and was ready to cross the cave for Han Ling. Not long after Han Ling exercised her skills, she said, Zhangman. Xiaoxie immediately pointed to the Zhangman a cup ointment with the great compassion finger and then used the golden needle to force the true qi to open up the a cup ointment for Han Ling. After a while, Han Ling shouted again, Tianqi. Celestial. Shenmen. Xiang. Kuan. The Court of God. As soon as the divine court a cup ointment was solved, Han Ling had already gotten up and shouted, "It's done." She regained her previous vividness and loveliness. The little evil shouted and shouted, "Be quiet, where is the old ghost still beside you?" He pointed at Li San and smiled, and the two of them stared and smiled, and walked towards the old ghost. The little evil shouted, "How does the old ghost feel now?" Li San smiled, "It's okay, but it's already a little hot." Xiaoxie comforted, "It's okay to be hot now, it won't be hot in the future, you have to be patient." Li San smiled and said, "The old man can save it, don't be too tired when you rest." He's a mistaken little evil benefactor. Xiaoxie wanted to laugh but didn't laugh out loud. He said, "Okay, you don't talk nonsense, don't be angry." Soon the water gradually steamed out of his mouth, and the old ghost also sweated on his face. Xiaoxie added a lot of wood, and he said, "I'll go out and relieve myself and come back immediately, don't be messy and bear with it, it's almost done." Li Erxiao couldn't open his mouth anymore, and only nodded his head. Xiaoxie walked towards Han Ling and said, "You stay here and take care of Lao Er, I'll go out to do some things and come back immediately." Han Ling didn't know what Xiaoxie was going to do, so she said, "Okay, but you have to come back quickly, I'll be afraid of being here alone." Xiaoxie nodded and said, "I won't have to come back in half an hour." He carried the barrel of kerosene straight out of the cave, and he said secretly, "Grandma, killing people and setting fires is my specialty, haha. This trick is enough for him to peel off the skin, haha. These stinky snakes can't stay disgusted and die." When the snakes heard the smell of kerosene, they fled for their lives in panic. When Xiaoxie saw it, he immediately ran out of the valley, poured a circle outside, prevented the snakes from escaping, splashed the rest everywhere, and found a lot of dead trees and threw them in the four passes, and then he was satisfied and swept back into the hole. Xiaoxie smiled at Li San and said, "How is it? How does it taste?"